wrapping up on this Tupac stuff on this Discretion TV.
It says, look,
This was Discretion TV. This is talking about how that I think there was a Sebring car full of women that pulled up on Suge and Pac, and they was like meet them at 662. They saying that one of the women did see a motherfucker out on feet waving a gun. So we finna get into this right now. The Discretion TV, Joe. Y'all go over there and go check the channel out. You want to see the visual. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share when you go over to these channels. I appreciate it if y'all will, like and share on my channel. I appreciate the subs. I just had 2 subs the other day, and I appreciate y'all. I salute y'all. We're gonna start wrapping this shit up, and I'm gonna get back to regular programming as of tomorrow. Right now, we chilling. I got some shit called Beatbox. 11.9% alcohol value. So you already know my shit is not for little kids, because I say and do all type of shit on this motherfucker. So you little motherfuckers know you ain't subscribed to my shit. But, hey, let's get into this shit.
she don't think there was enough time in real time to go to Suge's house.
This him talking about Kenya Ware. She done been on his channel. He talking about Kenya Ware saying that she don't believe it was enough time for them to go to Suge's house to change clothes.
From the Luxor and get back on the way to 66 Deuce for the shooting to happen. Drop comments below. Here you have another statement. It don't sound like... the way it sounded, where did they come from, the 4 ladies who's witnesses? Where did they come from, the Luxor? How did they... How is it possible that they was able to catch Suge and Pac and see the shooting like this? Drop comments below. According to Frank Alexander, Pac's last security guard, Pac's bodyguard said, listen, 2 bicycle cops pulled Suge and Pac over. And I was telling y'all, the Excalibur Hotel that these 2 bicycle cops pulled Suge and Pac over at is right next to the Luxor. Frank never said that. Drop comments below. It's starting to seem like it was more convenient after the Luxor.
Shout out to the Luxor Hotel. I fucked with them. I ain't been there.
2 bicycle cops harassed them right there. They go further down the block, around the corner, the shooting happened. I told y'all, that airport is on Koval and on Tropicana, right down the block where they got pulled over at. Drop comments below. I told y'all that.
Make it make sense.
Everything was in the same circle. Is it more convenient for the narrative? Was it more convenient for the narrative to be told that they went to the Suge house for the police instead of saying what really happened? I'm just asking questions because right now, with this statement, there's no real facts. And I'm not saying they didn't go to Suge's house. All I'm saying is a lot of more different opinions of truth is coming out. Drop comments below.
Yes, it is.
His allegations.
Stuff strong as hell.
We've been informed that doctors have told the family members that they expect the rap star to once again recover from his injuries. Conan Allen for NBC
Time
News,
for
Las
exit
Vegas.
Tupac into Machiavelli.
The next day is September the 13th. Okay? September the 13th, 1996 fell on a Friday. My shift started with Tupac at 8 o'clock that morning. Prior to my shift starting, Reggie told me to stay away from the family. He goes, they're really angry at you. I go, why are they angry at me? He goes, because, the son is laying up in the hospital dying. And I'm thinking, okay, right? So now I'm thinking.
Fuck that, Frank. Fuck you thinking for? There's nothing to think about. The bitch ass nigga told y'all not to take y'all guns. Michael, Michael Moore was he had the muscle, but he had the brains to out try to think Reggie because he knew it was some bullshit that night. But see, this is what I'm trying to get y'all to see how everything went, regardless if Reggie and them had something to do with it, if that shit really happened or he faked his death. At the end of the day, I'm telling y'all that the shooting happened. I'm telling you that he probably did get shot up. He probably did was making it. He got treated and got the fuck up out of there. See, when you're younger, your body healed quick. You gotta remember, he got shot 5 times at Quad Studio and checked himself right out the hospital after them people worked on him. Come on now, you gotta make this shit make sense. When a motherfucker go through something like a stabbing or a shooting, and it happened again, they more prepared, you know, and keeping themselves calm, not hyperventilating to speed up the process of death. Excuse me. So I really think Pac ain't dead. Let's listen.
I can't talk to Yasmin, who was Tupac's assistant at Euthanasia, and I can't talk to, we call it Mama Shakur. I couldn't talk to Afeni. So now I'm thinking, oh, great, right? So basically, that whole day, was trying to avoid them. Ironically, when Reggie had told me that before I got into the hospital, I pull up, a van pulls up behind me, and it's Afeni and her sister, Gloria. They get out, and they walk into the hospital. I let them go in front of me. They go toward the back. I walk right behind them, and I go in there. I, relieve the other guy that was on, and Pac's still laying in there, right? I'm sitting there in the chair outside the room, and
Why would he say, we came to relieve dude that was on the shift and Pac is still in there? If you came to relieve somebody on a shift that was watching the door where Pac was in, why would you, Frank, rest in peace, say Pac is still in there? Where would he go?
Afeni and her sister, they're standing inside there with Pac, looking at him. Then a doctor comes, which was his doctor. The doctor comes and goes into the room with Tupac and Afeni and Gloria, and they go out of the room into the room right next door. And the door's open, and they're sitting down. The doctor sits down. Afeni or either Glow, one of them, they sit on the floor, and the other one was sitting next to the doctor, and they're talking. And I'm watching them the whole time, right? And I see the facial expressions, and I'm like, oh no. And I'm sitting there, man, and I'm just like falling apart inside. Then Afeni walks out, and she sat down next to me. And when she sat next to me, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. She sat next to me, and I put my hand on her hand, and she said, "It's okay, Frank." And that was the last time that I spoke to her. Little did I know, Pac was dying, and she had gotten his news to make it. So I look at Reggie like, these are security questions. You need to answer these questions. So Reggie wasn't answering them. So I said, sure. I go, I don't own Ragway Security. I work for Reggie. I go, there should have been more security with us. I go, I had already asked you and told you that we needed more bodyguards on Pac. I go, I asked for more security. I go, he goes, well, what happened to Michael Moore? He was with you that day. I said, he was called to go back over to 662. And every answer I gave Suge was answers that Reggie should have been giving Suge or Suge should have known. So then Suge says to me, he goes, no, I'm sorry, he says to Reggie, he goes, Reg, he goes, what's up? What was the breakdown in security? And Reggie's like, and Al was a supervisor, and here's the finger being pointed again. So I'm sitting there still. Then all of a sudden the phone rings. Right? Suge gets the phone. He has the phone. He answers the phone. And he stands up. He throws the phone. Bang! Right across the table, right? I'm like, oh shit. I looked at the pool, I go, I'm going for a swim. I fell. He turns around and he says, can nobody fucking save him now? And he's in tears, right? And he goes, he just died. And I just start crying, right? As I'm crying, and I'm just like, should walks away. Everybody at the table just gets up and everybody walks away. Reggie looks at me and goes, go, get it. Let's go pack your shit and get out of Wendy's.
The sense I got in talking to different people was that
Why would Reggie look at Frank and tell him to pack his shit and get the fuck on? How does that fall on Frank? And he doesn't own Right Way Security. And they work for Right Way Security. And Reggie, you told them not to carry their guns.
people weren't talking. You know, and the police, they were putting out a little bit of information, and their thing was, well, no one would cooperate, no one would cooperate, no one would cooperate. You know, well, police don't end an investigation because nobody cooperates. You know, they continue. But Orlando Anderson, I think, well, that was a little odd that Orlando Anderson was taken into custody, and then, you know, I mean, he was actually questioned at the MGM Grand and decided to leave. And that should have been a red flag right there. And then he was taken into custody later and released, and they said, well, we don't have enough evidence.
Do you know about what time Orlando was released by the MGM security?
It was about I believe it was about 2.5 hours before the shooting.
I started calling people, right? They're saying, dude, go get your shit, get out of Vegas, leave. I go, I can't even drive. Back to the car. Go. You know, so he died.
Began before dawn. The crime spree involved 300 officers, 10 agencies, including the FBI, at more than 37 locations in the Compton, Linwood, and Long Beach areas. Compton police say the arrests were for local crimes in connection with 12 shootings that occurred in the city of Compton that resulted in 3 deaths. But officers did reveal there could be a link to the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur.
Our investigation revealed that some of the motivation for the shootings that occurred in Compton may be in retaliation for the events that transpired in Las Vegas. But those of you who are familiar with gang activity know that gangs do retaliate for perceived violence against gang members of a particular set. The reason that we targeted the September 7th date is we noticed that we had an increase in gang activity and shootings beginning following that date.
Shakur's car was sprayed with bullets following a boxing match in Las Vegas on September 7th. The rapper died a week later from his bullet wounds. Las Vegas police were on the scene for today's sweep and will be interviewing some of those arrested, including 22-year-old reputed gang member named Orlando Anderson, who may have been in Las Vegas that night.
Las Vegas Police Department has not announced any suspect in the Tupac Shakur shooting. There is one suspect who was arrested on a homicide which occurred in the city of Compton in April, who they will probably talk to. But as far as that goes, I would refer you to the Las Vegas Police Department for any information regarding the crime that occurred in Las Vegas.
I cannot say that we have pinpointed one particular person. There are some people, and I can't elaborate as to the names, but there are some people that came up early. There were a lot of names that came up through the course of the investigation. Many of them we could eliminate right away based on the information that was given to us, because we knew there's still some information we know that has not been made public, and it's helped us to eliminate the nonsense that comes in, and unfortunately there is a lot of that.
You're seeing Skechers famous line set footwear everywhere, and now that famous design is
Well,
available.
of course, I don't have premium, so we're gonna hear these commercials.
With no bending down or touching your shoes. Try
But,
Skechers slip-ins. Edna's is
wrapping this stuff up tonight.
You thought?
But then you found a room with more room.
911. Hi, my name is with Bell Transportation. I have a driver who was calling to report that there was gunfire. There was gunshots on the corner of Cobalt and Flamingo. Did you see anybody? No. I came back to your location with the two. Copy. Can you respond to the Boulevard Harmon? Expediting.
I swear it just said it was 2 people that was in a white Cadillac.
We're looking for a two-door CAD newer model occupied by 2. This man, last name northbound Audrey. Apparently the original shot fired at Flamingo and Audrey. So we're not all in custody. We're still looking for just that vehicle. Please so. Please.
Yeah, we're like the homicide division.
I don't have anyone on the phone over there right now. How can I help you?
This is regarding the Tupac shooting. And the guys is from Los Angeles, Compton, California.
What?
The guys.
Remember on my other video I talk about Pac having this all orange shirt on, then they got Pac in a Pele orange and white shirt holding a medallion. They got him on here taking a picture of the Mike Tyson fight with a little kid in all orange. So we need to make this make sense about that Pele shirt.
That did it from Compton, California.
And Jim Compton, you gave me one name. What was?
But that's the only one I know about. And he has been shot. He got shot by Tupac got shot.
Who shot him?
I don't know. I'm sure.
In the witnesses that were interviewed,
Very similar cars, man.
first, that particular night, in the witnesses that were interviewed, there were actually 2 different types of vehicles, a white Cadillac and a white Lincoln Continental. I tend to lean more towards the Cadillac description, though the license plate number, the only license plate number we were given was on a Lincoln. Well, put it this way, the witness said that the car that the plate was on was a Lincoln. The plate number was thoroughly checked because the number itself was invalid. And I did every kind of mix and match that you could possibly do and never got anything on the license plate number. As far as the Cadillac, there have probably been 50 different stories about that Cadillac called in. No 2 are the same. As far as getting chased, at the time of the shooting, and this again was some misinformation, this kind of misinformation I don't have a problem talking about. There's been talk about the officers that were in the parking garage at the time of the shooting.
I want to say this too, Reg. How the hell did Suge use Pac as a human shield if Suge had both his hands on the steering wheel? Make that make sense.
Understand that they were not in a position to see the shooting. They heard the shots, but by the time they got to a position to see, and they're elevated because they're doing another case, everybody's already darting out of there because it wasn't like this shooting happened and all these cars just sat there. This was a very dynamic scene. Again, I'm doing that based on the witness, and again, the one particular witness that has come around, I put a lot more credence to what he said.
Back in Compton on September 9th, the day, according to the affidavit, another informant noticed a late model white Cadillac being driven into a local auto shop by Orlando Anderson's cousin,
which was attached to a motion filed in court by attorneys for Death Row Records chief shyt. This document reveals that only days after the shooting in Las Vegas of rapper Tupac Shakur last September, cops already had the name of the man gang informant say pulled the trigger. It should be emphasized this document is based on the word of informants and does not in itself constitute proof of anything. That must be done in court. However, the Compton police document does contain a startling account of the events that led up to Shakur's killing and a shot-by-shot chronicle of the 5-day bloodbath that followed it. A gang war that apparently left 3 men dead and 10 wounded. Here's the story.
This 29-page statement of probable cause offers some intriguing answers. It was written up by Compton police last September and was attached to a motion filed in February by Suge Knight's defense team as part of their attempt to overturn Knight's probation violation. Based largely on information provided to the Compton police by their gang informants, the statement, or affidavit, gives an unverified but considerably detailed account of gang-related activity in Compton before and after the shooting of Tupac Shakur. According to the statement of probable cause, 5 days after Shakur was shot, an informant with special knowledge of the activities of the Bloods, identified in the statement as CRI, Confidential Reliable Informant Number 3, gave police a sequence of events which suggested that the shooting in Vegas might have been the culmination of a feast that began here at the Lakewood Mall. The informant told Compton police that a man named Trevon Lane, an alleged Death Row affiliate also known as Trey, was at the mall's Foot Locker just behind me in July or August of last year when he was confronted by 7 or 8 members of the Southside Crips. A scuffle ensued, during which Lane's Death Row medallion was taken from him. Fast forward to September 7th in Las Vegas, the night of the Tyson-Selden fight at the MGM Grand. According to the affidavit, CRI number 3 told the Compton cops that moments after the bout, Trevon Lane was walking through the hotel as part of Death Row's entourage when he spotted a man later identified as Orlando Anderson, the same man, Lane thought, who'd taken his medallion at the Lakewood Mall 2 months ago. Lane pointed the man out to Shakur. Shakur confronted Anderson with the question, "You from the South?" an apparent reference to the Southside Crips. Melee ensued, captured on tape by MGM Grand surveillance cameras. Little more than an hour later, as a line of Death Row cars snaked its way to a party at Knight's Club 662, a white Cadillac, with California license plates, according to one report, pulled up to the right of Shakur and Knight's vehicle. According to the affidavit, a passenger opened fire with a Glock 40 caliber handgun, grazing Knight and critically wounding Shakur, as members of the Death Row entourage watched from the cars behind Knight's. In the affidavit, the informant is also said to have told Compton police Trevon Lane was heard at Club 662, declaring that the shooter was the same man who'd been in the melee at the MGM Grand, and that the shooter was, quote, Keefy D's nephew, unquote. According to police, Orlando Anderson is the nephew of the man known as Keefy D. Both are reputed by Compton police to be Southside Crips. Back in Compton on September 9th, the day according
And Keefy, you fuck around and stay in jail. Your nephew did that shit. You said you gave him the pistol. Come on, man. I get it now. You saying you wasn't there and all of it was a bunch of bullshit, but...
To the affidavit, another informant noticed a late model white Cadillac being driven into a local auto shop by Orlando Anderson's cousin. 3 separate blood sects convened at Looters Park. The topic of discussion, according to the affidavit, the need to retaliate against the Southside Crips for the attack on Tupac Shakur. Compton police were told by their informant that 5 sites for drive-by shootings were chosen. 3 potential targets were singled out. At 2:58 that afternoon, at this location on East Alondra, one such man, whose name was mentioned to Las Vegas police as someone who might have been riding in the white Cadillac, was shot in the back. The war was on. 2 days later, at 9:05 on the morning of September 11th, Southside Crip Bobby Finch was gunned down on South Mayo. The next day, Vegas police told Compton cops that they'd received calls that Finch had been riding in the white Cadillac. By early morning on the 14th, 5 more people had been shot in what Compton police regard as related assaults. Meanwhile, 3 Bloods were fired on and wounded in 2 separate shootings. On September 13th, the day Tupac Shakur died, 2 more Bloods were shot and killed by an assailant who fled on foot. As the gang war raged, police in Compton and Las Vegas continued to receive unsubstantiated tips that Tupac Shakur had been shot by Keefy D's nephew, or Baby Lane, aliases, as it turned out, for Orlando Anderson. On the 13th, the affidavit states, one reputed member of the Bloods identified the man who shot him in Compton 2 days earlier as Orlando Anderson. On the 20th, an eyewitness fingered Anderson as the trigger man in an April 1996 homicide. Around that same time, the affidavit states, an informant told one police officer that Anderson had been spotted with a .40 caliber Glock handgun, a potentially significant tip, since it hadn't been yet revealed publicly that a .40 caliber Glock had been used in the attack on Shakur. On October 2nd, as part of a gang sweep, Compton police arrested Anderson in connection with that April 1996 homicide. But the DA's office declined to press charges at that time and asked the cops to gather more evidence. Compton police told MTV News that Anderson remains the prime suspect in the April 1996 homicide, and charges are expected to be formally filed imminently. As for Anderson's attorney, he declined to comment on this and any other allegations contained in the affidavit, and says that he's not been informed that his client remains the prime suspect in that April 1996 homicide. He has previously denied that Anderson was in any way involved with the killing of Shakur. While testifying under oath here at Suge Knight's probation hearing, Orlando Anderson invoked the Fifth Amendment when asked if he was a member of the Crips and denied that Knight had assaulted him. Vegas police questioned Anderson briefly back in October, at which point a Vegas cop was quoted as saying Anderson was not a suspect in Shakur's murder. 4 months later, however, Vegas Sergeant Kevin Manning told the Los Angeles Times that Anderson was indeed a suspect in Shakur's killing, but that his department lacked hard evidence against him. Vegas cops say that since the night of the shooting, they've been unable to speak with Trevon Lane, who the affidavit asserts was involved with a scuffle with Anderson at the Lakewood Mall, pointed Anderson out to Shakur at the MGM Grand, and was heard at Club 662 hours after the shooting, IDing Anderson as the shooter. Efforts by MTV News to speak with Trevon Lane were unsuccessful.
On Wednesday, Orlando Anderson gave an exclusive interview to CNN in which he said he did not kill Tupac Shakur.
Were you involved in any way in the death of Tupac Shakur?
No, I was not involved. I mean, I'm like a victim. You know what I'm saying? I feel, you know what I'm saying, sorry for him. And, you know, like I said, I was a fan of him.
Baby Lane that killed Tupac, he got killed right there. Baby Lane that killed Tupac. He got killed right there. You know what I'm saying? Him and the legal for Pablo, they got into a shootout right up there, you know what I'm saying? So they killed each other, you know what I mean? That's an OG car wash, been here for years as well. This is Alondra right here. The case is right here to the right. We're gonna go to the bill right after this.
Why was he shot? He was coming from the car wash, picking up his truck, and somebody just ran up on him and shot him like that. We don't know why. We don't know nothing. Nobody ain't told us nothing why he was killed.
Some people say this had something to do with the killings of Tupac Shakur, and people went back 2-3 years.
I don't know if it is. I don't know nothing about that. I don't have no idea about that. All I know is that my nephew is laying up here dead. That's all I know.
Is this somehow connected with the Bloods and the Crips and what's going on with the game?
I don't know. I really can't say. This is two different states going on. We got the south side and then we got corner pocket. It's corrupted out here now. Everybody's been killed.
There's a lot of shootings going on.
Yeah, every day you hear about somebody getting killed. Not one day, but every day somebody's getting killed. And I think it's time for it to stop. It's really time.
Do you think any of this is connected with the rappers that were shot?
I can't say that. I don't know for sure because I wasn't over there. We was at home. I live in Long Beach. Me and his mother was at home, which is my sister. And we got a call and he had got shot and we made it right up here. We came straight to here.
What is his name?
His name is Jerry Stone. And he died this evening.
And is he connected with Orlando Anderson and the other people?
I don't even know who Orlando Anderson is. I don't know him.
While the music of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. live on, so does the mystery of who put an end to their young lives.
Can't believe it.
The playoffs. The proof every moment. Just watch.
So Orlando Anderson was in his truck when they killed him. They showed the bullet holes all up in that bitch. But that's that on that end. what I feel, Pac ain't dead. It's a lot of bullshit behind it because a lot of motherfuckers wanted him dead. They ain't want that shine, and motherfuckers had money to try to get him out the way, just as well as him having money. But I just feel like, me personally, he's not dead. No, I think he got the fuck on because he knew what time it was, and it was too much going against him with too many people. So, wrapping this up with Tupac, I don't believe he's dead. Levon Machiavelli, and it is what it is. And if he is deceased, rest in peace to the great one. But I don't feel like he's deceased. I feel like he's still alive. I feel like it was a lot of entities out there that wanted him gone, and there was a lot of people up with the bullshit. So I done wrapped this up with the Pac thing. I done gave y'all the channels if y'all want to go check them out. Straight Game TV, Discretion TV. You know, you go check them out. You got Reggie with Bomb First. You go check them out and you come up with your own conclusion of what you think might happen to the great one. In the meantime, Green Time, I'm gonna check y'all later. I did do the live, like I said. I just sipped this shit, smoked, and did this video with y'all. I'm finna night. You know, until next time, y'all check it out, Riot DA DON TV, and y'all have a good one.